I've been looking at this thing and I could tell that the front wasn't dropping as far as it could based on where the top of the shocks are placed right now. And I was like, what's going on? I thought it was my lead weight, so I chopped a little bit off, as you can see. They're not the same size. And then I got going, figuring, contemplating where I was going to move it. I was going to use this guy. It's kind of got those little spacers, right? So I was like, huh, that's kind of cool. I can use that as like a drill guide. So I was going to set it up in there, take out that screw, because it was actually back here. This one's actually moved now. But I was going to take out that screw, put it into the back end here, and just center it and drill it through one of the three remaining holes there. I was like, nah, that sucks. That's not a good enough angle. So as you can see, like, the two angles on these shocks are considerably different, right? So this chassis from Injora, this LCG Gladiator chassis, it's got a few holes in it. You can see the one right, where is it? Right there. That's where that one's moved to, but you can see the motor right there, right? So I had to figure out how to mount it properly. Okay, so this is going to get sketchy. Zoom in here. So you can see on the back side of that, let's get a pointer here. On the back side there is a washer. It's a brass spacer. It came with some other things. And then this is where it really got sketchy. Freaking hard to see. So you can see the gap between the motor and the end of that screw. I had to put a nut on the end, a little bit of lock thread right there in that wheel on the tin foil. But like you can see, that's much less than a millimeter. Like, it is so crazy close. And I do need that brass spacer in there just to keep the shocks away from the body or the chassis rail. But now I have that angle that I was looking for that's very similar to the back. So let's zoom that back out. So you can see that angle it's sitting at now. Much, much better. So I had to go up in here. And now you can see on this side it sits nice and low, where it should be. If I flip it over, or turn it around I guess, you can see how much space is in the front. And that's the shock completely compressed. Like, it can't go down any further. That's it. I thought it was hitting this guy right here on. It kind of sat up here and was hitting this, but it was completely clear of that. I just need a little further investigation, so I'm going to have to put this guy in the back here. So if you're going to build one of these, have yourself some tiny, I'm talking like microscopic. Like, it's so small. Like, I got a bunch others that I thought were the correct ones. Here, just let me pause it here and find them. Alright, so I found them. So this is your normal end of the wheel nut. This guy would go right up in there, right? So you can tell that's pretty good size. And then here's another one with lock washer. It's got nylon inside. And then there's these other ones. I was like, what the heck are these from? So I tried those, and it just slides over your normal SCX-24 screw. And then you can see the size of this little thing. Like, it is freaking small. Like, it's so tiny. It's so hard to handle. And this is the correct one. These ones don't. You can technically just wobble these onto the screw, so those ones don't work. You need something wicked small. No idea where I got that from, but that's what's on the back in there. That little guy right there. It's so small, so tiny, so small. So yeah, that's what you're gonna need if you want to use that hole. Unless you want to drill some, then you can technically drill a smaller hole and use this as the screw, because it will bite into this stuff pretty darn well. You can kind of feel it biting into these stock drilled holes, but I don't trust it for long-term use. If you're just going to do a quick run, it'll probably hold up long enough, but yeah. Alright, so I'll get that all built and I'll show you. And voila, there we go. Both shocks are in there, same angle. Had to do some fiddling around here. I used to have a zip tie going from here underneath just to keep the ESC, or sorry, the receiver hooked up, but I just took an extra piece of,
where is it? There it is.
The good old Velcro, double-sided Velcro. Put a little piece under there, and the back side, if it has to, you can see it might end up touching the motor, but there's almost no weight back there. Like there's nothing there. It's so little. But yeah, I got the stance I was looking for, which is awesome. Yeah, so this chassis is a little tricky, but damn does it look cool now. Yeah. Got 2 elastics in there. And it's kind of cool with this chassis too. You can kind of see one of the screws right beside the elastic, right at the end. You can just screw them in a little bit and they bite, and that will keep your elastics from falling off. So just wrap it around your servo. Usually take out that screw, put them underneath, bam. Now it wants to stay down, which is great. With all that crazy flex, super heavy wheels. 424 grams in wheels alone, wheels and tires. This thing is crazy, but it needed that. It needed that, the shock replacement angle, or switching spots, I guess, to get super steep so it sits and can climb. Anyway, later. Oh yeah, so on another note, I'm chilling here, and we got one cat here in a box, and another cat there in a box. Like, it never fails. The other cat's way over on his other spot, but he was here before the little baby came over and took his spot. So yeah, this happens every time I start talking to the camera. They show up. Anyway, later.